You're listening to Entrepreneur Encounter, the podcast where soft skills meet real talk for creative business owners who are building with purpose. I'm Dana, a Pinterest marketing strategist and agency owner helping wedding pros and creative entrepreneurs get seen without burning out.
And I'm Sarah, a business and team strategist who helps small teams and podcasters communicate clearly, lead with empathy, and grow sustainably. Together, we're unpacking the messy, meaningful side of entrepreneurship, from boundaries to burnout, leadership to listening, so you can build a business that actually fits your life. Here's a feeling I think a lot of us know all too well. You're looking at your business. Maybe it's a system, maybe it's a team dynamic, even your own role, and something feels off. It's not broken, just not right anymore. And you can't quite put your finger on it, but and yet you don't change it. You just keep going, hoping it will sort itself out somehow.
What makes that so frustrating is that it's not like you don't see it. We do. You do. You're a perceptive person. You built something. Logically, you're completely clear on what something is supposed to do or how it's supposed to work. Emotionally, though, you're frozen. So the question is, if I know this isn't working, why does fixing it feel so hard? And I have so many things that I could wrap into this. We'd probably be here all day. So we'll take it piece by piece.
Yes. And that's exactly what we're getting in today, because this isn't really a strategy conversation. It's an emotional one. We're talking about why change triggers fear in leaders, even when we're the ones who saw it coming, the freezing, the controlling, the stalling, and what it actually looks like to move through it, not around it, but through it.
If you're an entrepreneur in a season of growth or uncertainty, or even just a quiet shift that you can feel but haven't fully named yet, and if you've been wondering why you feel stuck even when part of you knows exactly what needs to happen, this one's for you.
We're going to walk through why change triggers a fear response in leaders in the first place. The difference between logically knowing what you need to change and being emotionally ready for it, which, spoiler, are very different things. And how to actually move through that freeze without beating yourself up in the process, because we've all been there. We've all beat ourselves up because we're freezing and we don't feel like we're moving in the direction that we want to go in.
And if this is already the kind of conversation you want more of, we have a free gift for you. It's called the 20-minute clarity map. Sarah and I have used this ourselves on more than one occasion. It's a quick, practical planning tool to set meaningful priorities and the soft skills to make them happen. You'll learn how to pick 3 goals that will make the biggest impact, pair each goal with a soft skill to boost follow through, define simple, realistic actions you can actually complete, which is probably the biggest thing to take away from this, as well as stay consistent without burning out. The link is in the show notes. Go sign up and we'll see you in your inbox. All right, so let's get into this. The first thing I want to normalize, and I mean really normalize, is that change threatens identity. And we hear a lot that people don't change, but truth is, people change if they want to change. It's that neuroplasticity. Especially for founders, our businesses aren't just strategies on a whiteboard, they're deeply personal, which is why sometimes when we get rejected or like a partnership falls through or collaboration gets turned down, it hurts because we built these things. We put a lot of our own personality and time, energy, and effort into this. So when something needs to change, what we often hear internally isn't, oh, it's time to evolve. It's something more like, I must have done something wrong. I misjudged. I failed. I insert whatever negative talk is rolling through your head in the moment.
I have been there many of times. I mean, even when that's completely untrue, because we are so in our heads, because this is our business. This is what we're building. Even when the change is just growth doing what growth does. And that's the biology. Your brain reads uncertainty as potential danger. It doesn't distinguish between a strategic pivot and a threat to your survival. So your nervous system does what it's designed to do. It tries to tighten control, which shows up in micromanaging. You overanalyze everything, you delay decisions, or you just freeze, knowing what to do and not doing it. I've seen it time and time again when the clients I work with, other businesses, micromanaging because they're not sure of what the next step is. They're overthinking. I overthink things a lot, and I don't need to overthink things because it's so simple. But I think because we're so close to what we're doing, we can't get out of our head.
So here's the thing I want you to sit with for a second, and that's resistance doesn't mean you're failing. It means your nervous system is doing its job. It's trying to protect you. And that's really a different thing. And it changes how you relate to yourself when you're stuck. And it's how you get yourself to move forward and to go through these changes.
So let's talk about something that I think trips a lot of leaders up. You can logically understand that change needs to happen and still not be emotionally ready for it. And leaders get confused here because they think, I've done the thinking, I can see the new structure, I mapped it out. I mean, maybe you've created a new organization chart, you revised your offer, the pivot laid out clearly in a doc somewhere.
But internally, you haven't processed what that shift actually means, like what you're giving up or what version of yourself you're leaving behind. Because sometimes what it means is you're no longer the scrappy founder doing everything, which in theory should give us, a breath of relief. But as you're stepping into something bigger, you're letting people carry things that you used to carry alone. And that is a hard process to go through, especially if you have a mindset like myself, where it's just easier and or faster if I do it myself. And there's a grief process in that I'm fully going to tell you I'm going through right now. So this is real talk right now. Even when the change is genuinely good, like bringing on someone into your team and helping you buy back your time and allowing you to do things that move towards the bigger picture, change always comes with some form of loss. And that's the part that nobody likes to talk about. There's loss of familiarity, a certainty of an identity you've held on for years. And your body feels that before your mind has a chance to rationalize it, before you even consciously acknowledged it, which is why you can have total logical clarity of this is the right direction for me. Like you couldn't tell me anything from when I first launched my business as a side hustle, being a virtual assistant, to what I'm doing now and what I'm building now. Like I know this is the right path for me. But some days I still feel paralyzed on how to properly set up my operations and SOPs to hand things off because it's not a logic problem, it's an integration problem, it's an emotional problem.
I've learned, I mean, obviously, as you go through things and you change and, you learn things about yourself that you didn't realize before. I used to hate asking for help in my personal life, in my professional life, because I'm very independent. I like to do things, I like to figure things out. And when I get stuck on something, I feel almost incompetent, like I should know how to do this. Or I don't want to do homework with the kids because I'm having a hard time, or I don't want to write this blog post or whatever. Like, whatever it is going on, I've learned to ask for help because essentially it felt like I was losing control. I was losing myself. Like, if I have to ask somebody for help, what's the point of doing what I'm doing? So that's like when you are growing your business and you decide you want to hire, or you have a partner that you're working on a podcast together and you split up tasks and you're like, okay, well, we can all just decide to, do everything all at once and just do it ourselves. But if you need help, that's the part of growth. I believe that if you ask for help, you'll learn things about yourself that you probably didn't realize. And yes, I used to freeze in those moments. Oh my goodness, I'm going to ask for help. Now I'm just like, if I need help, I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask for help because now I feel so much better than if I don't. Because in that moment, you're trying to do everything by yourself and you're getting frustrated and you're like, what's the point? And then you ask a question and you get help and then you're relieved. Of course, you don't want to lose control of what you're doing. You want to keep what you're doing. But when you ask for help, it's going to help you in the long run.
I think that freeze also looks like knowing exactly what needs to happen and then not doing it.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
It
yeah.
it's a lot of self-sabotage, and maybe it's because we know we can't take it on all by ourselves, or we're afraid of what that scaling actually means, because if you're not comfortable with where you are right now, or aren't even comfortable with where you're trying to go, then you're gonna freeze, you're gonna sit on action and come up with some sort of busy work so you don't actually have to think about it and deal with it. That's not necessarily a weakness, but then that opportunity passes by. And so you get busy doing something else instead of taking the very intentional actions that would have gotten you closer to what you are trying to get to in the first place. So, well, hopefully it doesn't sound familiar, but if it sounds familiar, it's not weakness. It's your system doing the best it can with what it has. And here's where I want to push back on that mindset and that thought process. It's on how adaptability gets talked about. It's always framed as a speed thing, pivot faster, adjust quicker. But long term, I think leadership level adaptability doesn't start with a faster strategy. It starts with emotional regulation and like really honing in on your nervous system. Can you sit with uncertainty without immediately reaching for control? Can you stay in the discomfort long enough to make an intentional decision instead of just a reactive one? I know for a very long time, I could not do that. And I've gotten better, especially as I sat in the discomfort of pivoting from, virtual assistant business management to organic Pinterest marketing and creating ecosystems that connect with each other. Like it was uncomfortable to say goodbye to clients that I've worked with for years because we no longer, safely served each other. Like
Well, yeah.
I was no longer providing them with the things that they needed. I mean, I was still doing good work, but I just didn't enjoy it. And so it was starting to affect my entire day, personally and professionally.
Reactive decisions are what happened when you skip that step. You hire too fast because that discomfort of possibly being short staffed feels unbearable. You fire too fast. You change your offer impulsively because staying the course feels like a failure, or you avoid the change entirely for way too long because the fear of getting it wrong is louder than anything else. Neither of those is adaptability. Both of them are fear in different disguises.
So, what does actually moving through resistance look like? Not perfectly, but practically. I would never tell someone they have to do something perfectly because then we'll definitely never take action.
Yeah, nothing's perfect. I mean, obviously we can imagine it being, I want what was the phrase? Pinterest perfect, like a Pinterest perfect house. Man,
Yes.
raising a family is chaotic and it's beautiful, but the house is not going to be clean 24/7. It's not going to, it's not going to be perfect. Although it would be nice to have like a really cool decorated house, but I mean, nothing's going to be perfect. And your business, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy and we have to take that in. So when you think of this feels scary, but like what are you exactly afraid of? So when those emotions come up, you can name it, you can write it down if you have to. Vague fear has a lot of the power. Named fear is much easier to work with. Like I'm just afraid of this to fail. Like why are you afraid for it to fail? Because I don't want to go back to my old life or whatever. Like you have to kind of like start asking yourself why questions, why this, why, just like how kids ask why questions. They want to know. So maybe do that to yourself.
Tap
So
into that childlike energy of why. Why are you afraid? I
yeah.
mean, I think that's a really great way to step into it because then you're able to separate the facts from the identity. Something that we do at our co working space here in North Carolina It started as a joke with one of the partners, and now it's like spread into a multiple partners are creating like their alter egos. It was actually mentioned at the Together Digital conference I went to in January. Is any of that like imposter syndrome, negative talk, give that a name, typically a person. And so I'm going to call out my friend Beth. Beth is her name, but the negative talk is Liz. And so whenever she's doubting herself, she'll literally out loud sometimes be like, "Shut up, Liz."
There you
That's not
go.
true. But then the like alter ego and powerful, like empowerment leader that she's walking into and joining is Bethany. So, but it helps you to separate the facts from the identity. And is this so? Whatever it is that you're looking at, is this a strategic pivot or are you making it mean something about you or your negative alter ego? Those are two very different problems with very different solutions. And even myself, I have, as of Wednesday of this week, at the time of this recording, I have been working on my own alter egos because we talked about rejection and how do we handle it? How do we learn to go for no? And like, that's uncomfortable and trying to grow. And so, how do we name that fear of rejection? And for me, a lot of it is internal. I reject myself before I even give myself an opportunity to take it to someone else to reject me.
Mhm.
They could say yes.
Yeah.
So I'm creating my own alter ego so I can better going into 2026 separate the identity and the facts of I do have this skill set. I own this space. That's just I haven't named it yet. So that's just my alter ego getting in the way. Stay tuned.
I need to think of some names. That's a good homework assignment. With that, now you can regulate before you decide, right? So when negative talk comes and then now you're like, you have your name picked out and you say, so and so, no, I don't like, I'm not making these decisions right now. This is not how this is going to work. So you're essentially talking to yourself. I mean, I talk to myself a lot. So maybe that's a good way to kind of cheat a little bit and knock things down to make things a little bit better, because you don't want to make decisions from a panic or even out of fear. You don't want to avoid what's going on, but obviously like naming it is going to help you figure that out and give yourself the conditions to think clearly before you act. I mean, that's not weakness, that's wisdom, that's you learning, that's self-awareness. So now it seems like you can almost have fun with it. Have fun with the fear if you're going to name it, and then squash it before it comes too much.
Can you imagine the fun or like the confidence boost it's going to be in your mind and regulating your nervous system when you can like stop it in its tracks because you took the time to name it and to identify the fear? That's like telling your childhood bully, if you had one, to like F off.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah.
getting them to face the consequences of all the bullying that they did, like that's kind of what it is. And I mean, we're probably all laughing right now, but it can be like that once we learn these steps. So if you're resisting that change right now, it doesn't mean you're behind. It doesn't mean you're not built for this. It means you're human, and that is
Wow.
perfectly okay. Some days you might be able to easily, like in my friend Beth's case, like easily tell Liz to shut it down and move on. And other days it's not. It just means you're in the middle of something real and amazing, and that's okay. Leadership during uncertainty has never been about being fearless, but it's always been about being aware. And awareness is something you can practice consistently.
Resistance, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means your system is adjusting, and adaptability, real adaptability, begins on the inside.
If this episode resonated, please share it with another business owner who's in a season of change. They probably need to hear it too, just as much as you did. And sign up for the newsletter if you want more of this. The link is in the show notes. We'll see you next time.
You can now follow us on LinkedIn at Entrepreneur Encounter.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective, share it with a friend or send us a DM. We love hearing how these conversations land with you.
And if you're curious about how soft skills can support your next season of growth, we each have more resources to share.
You can find Dana on Instagram at danas.desk.nc for Pinterest strategy and intentional marketing.
And Sarah at UR Rembert for team development, business leadership, and podcast support.
Until next time, keep leading with purpose
and growing with intention.